Good morning, everyone, from a lovely sunny Bray in County Wicklow in Ireland. It's Ado here, social care consultant and trainer and clinical supervisor. I've been tracking some stuff on social media recently in relation to social care and social care work, and one of the questions, or one of the topics that's popped up a few times is what do I need? What sort of skills? How can I be a great social care worker? Or what makes a great social care worker? There's been two or three kind of interlinked themes. And I thought I'd have a go in my, short 5 minutes at answering that. It's a big question, isn't it? What makes me a great social care worker? Or how can I be a great social care worker? And I think, with the focus on our degrees and registration with Carew and standardisation and inspections and CPD and, upskilling and all of that sort of stuff, I think what happens to us is we tend to externalise really the focus. We forget what social care is really about. And academia and that type of knowledge is so very important, and I value it as a lot of you probably know. I value it. I value it greatly. I've spent a long time studying, and I continue to study. But that's not what makes a great social care worker. That adds a body of knowledge or adds a body of skills. But the fundamentals to what makes a social care worker great is their ability to interrelate with other human beings. And that in itself, when you think about that statement, their ability to interrelate with other human beings, if you're conscious enough of what that actually means and what that process looks like, you'll have an understanding of how to be very successful at what you do. Because all of the people who use the services that we work in, the places that we work in, and sometimes those places are that individual's home, but all of those places that we work in, none of it can happen successfully if we don't have an understanding that it's one human being sitting and trying to support another human being. It's not the owner of a business trying to sell a commodity, although there is transactions happening. But it's one human being trying to interrelate to another. And no matter what the level of understanding is of the person sitting opposite you, so if you work in complex settings like intellectual and physical disability, where communication has to be done very differently, once you learn how that communication is done, then you're still working one human being with another human being. And whether you're working in homeless services and children's residential services and domestic violence services and youth and family services and children's support services, whatever the sector is that you're working in, if you have the ability to recognise the humanity in the person sitting opposite you, if you have the skills, or if you learn the skills on how to do that piece of interrelationship, if you're kind, and really importantly, if you're humble, if you have some humility, well then social care will be a great career for you. All of the other stuff that we need to learn, we will learn. What forms need to be filled in, how do you head up a shift, what does a shift plan look like, the complexities of the supervision relationship, making a child protection report, child protection notification, all of that sort of stuff we can learn. But the one-to-one between one human being and another is really where it's at. And we know now, with all of the great studies and literature out there on trauma and PTSD, we know now that for someone to learn to live with their trauma, the greatest support that they have is a positive relationship with another human being. That's what helps. In all cases, that's what helps. So if you want to be a great social care worker, work really hard on how you interrelate with people. Be humble. Sit with your humility. Everything else you can learn. So on this beautiful sunny day, I'll leave you with that. And as always, if you need any support from me, you'll find me at www.adrianmckenna.com for training, clinical supervision, group supervision, or just advice and support around your social care career. I'm available. Talk to you all soon. Cheers.